Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. Thank you for joining our MuleSoft talk. Today, we are going to discuss how to align your integration strategy and business objectives with MuleSoft. I'm Biren Chaudhary, AFDigital Salesforce CRM Practice Director. For the next 12 minutes or so, we will be discussing integration strategy and identifying the matrix that will align your team to your business priorities. Joining me today is Nick Metz, MuleSoft Account Executive. Hi, Nick. Happy to have you with us today.
Hi, Biren. Hi, everyone. Great to be here. Looking forward to a very interesting conversation this morning.
Definitely. So, without further ado, let's get the ball rolling. Nick, first, how do you identify the matrix that would be of interest to the business?
Yeah, thanks, Biren. Good question to kick things off. Firstly, I'll just say that I think every business is different. It's unique, and every business will care about different things and different metrics. So, it's important in your role, whether you're a CIO, an IT manager, integration specialist, that you have a really deep understanding of the overarching business goals. And if that's not clear from your strategic plan or your internal strategy documents, then you'll actually need to literally go and sit down with different individuals across the business. So sit down with your marketing team, sit down with your sales team, your HR team, even grab a 30-minute coffee with your CEO to find out what they care about and also to find out what the board cares about. I'll give you a recent example. I've been working with a company where the head of digital transformation was brand new to the business and was tasked with overhauling their technology stack to really set the business up to grow or to double their revenue over the next 5 years. So what he did was, he sat down with the executive team and the board, and it became really clear to him that the board had absolutely no interest in cost savings from the technology that they would bring in. And that the one and only thing that they cared about was revenue uplift to help them achieve that goal of doubling revenue. So knowing that from the outset, really allowed him and would allow you to work with technology vendors like MuleSoft to identify the metrics and the value that aligns to this. Some of the other more common business objectives we see are things like customer experience and retention, which is clearly aligned to revenue and growth metrics. Likewise for employee experience and retention, which, as I'm sure a lot of you know, in this current environment, it's a massive challenge for companies who are fighting for talent and needing to provide that seamless digital experience for their employees. Right from day one, onboarding through to their day-to-day experience and activities, so that those employees stay with that company in the long term. And often, the companies that I'm talking to, they acknowledge that they have a long way to go to achieve these objectives and provide these better experiences. So one of the key metrics that they actually care about is also time to market. So how fast can they actually deliver these new experiences? So I guess just to sum all that up, once you've sat down with the right people, you've got that understanding of the metrics, you can then start to think about your integration strategy and how to align that to the business objectives.
You rightly said, Nick. I think among many other metrics, time to market is quite important. And to do that, we need some bit of a continuous innovation in the integration market. But that leads to my next question. What is the importance of reuse rate in measuring business alignment?
Yeah, so in my view, Biren, when an IT team is building an integration strategy, reuse rate is the number one metric to determine the value that you're getting from your strategy and also from an integration platform like MuleSoft. The problem, though, is that the business doesn't necessarily understand or care about reuse rate. So we need to start thinking about things differently and use our understanding of the business objectives and metrics to translate reuse rate into something that they'll actually understand. Here at MuleSoft, we've pioneered what's called the composable enterprise, which is the concept of a business that has a series of building blocks in place that they can use whenever required to deliver new projects or customer experiences at speed. Having those building blocks in place, really allows them to adapt to market conditions faster. It allows them to outpace their competition. We've all seen this throughout COVID, where businesses have needed to adapt fast, and in particular deliver more digital experiences for their customers rather than in-store experiences, for example. I think retailers are the classic example where stores were forced to close. They needed to come up with new experiences and the ability for their customers to purchase online rather than in store. So having those building blocks in place would have allowed them to really quickly spin up those new experiences and to take market share away from their competitors. And their competitors at times would not have had those building blocks in place, and they would have had to start and build everything from scratch. So I think from an integration perspective, or from certainly our perspective, these building blocks come in the form of APIs, and the value comes through reuse. And the reason APIs are the most valuable form of integration is because they can be built in a certain way that allows them to be productized and stored in a central location, so that multiple people across your company can not only understand them, but can access them and reuse them for future projects.
That's a very valid point you raised, Nick, here, and thanks for highlighting APIs. We all would agree reusable APIs save time, effort, and money, and help create an infrastructure that is designed for change. That leads me to next question. Can you discuss briefly on how to measure the value of integration?
So there's two typical ways you can look at value. The first one is cost savings. How much money can you save the business? And the second one is around revenue growth. So how much more money can we make? Using reuse rate, you can pretty easily calculate how much developer costs you'll save. So as an IT leader, you'll know roughly your hourly developer rate. You'll know roughly how long it takes on average to build an API. So by analyzing how many times you've been able to reuse a particular API, you can calculate how much money you've saved pretty easily. But as I mentioned earlier, that doesn't typically resonate with other departments like a sales team or an HR team, for example. So how can we start to look at those other metrics like customer experience that results in sales growth, or employee experience that results in better employee retention? Those particular teams, they should have a good grasp and be able to tell you how much revenue can be generated from new initiatives or projects. And from there, we can calculate how much faster you can deliver those projects through reuse, which subsequently allows you to calculate value created. So I'll give you an example that I think most people tuning in will be able to visualize and understand. So take, for example, a sports equipment company who currently sell things like basketballs, tennis rackets, and other sporting equipment and sporting goods only through third-party retail stores. But what they want to do is launch a new direct-to-consumer website where you and I, Biren, can go online and buy directly from them. They've done some estimates that this will generate roughly $200,000 per month in revenue for the business, and through reusing APIs they've already built to unlock data from some of their systems, like their warehouse management system, their ERP, CRM, their e-commerce platform. They know that they can deliver this project 4 months faster than if they needed to build those APIs from scratch. So right there, the IT team can actually tell their sales and marketing team that they can generate $800,000 in revenue through faster time to market by getting that extra 4 months of sales time. And so right there, that's a much more impactful conversation for an IT team to be having with the business about how integration provides value than, for example, reuse rate and developer cost savings.
Right, Nick. That's a great conversation. I think the journey, how our discussion is taking today, right from metrics to different reuse components to time to market, A lot of people have this in their mind, like how should we aim our integration strategy towards improving time to market? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so speed is the key here, and I think really what you need to be doing is prioritizing and selecting your use cases based on what's going to provide the most value to the business so that you can maximize that reuse rate. So when the business comes to you and tells you which integration use cases they want you to prioritize to achieve their business objectives, you actually need to take a step back and look at these objectively and really map out your projects and timelines to maximize that reuse rate. So if, for example, you see a number of projects coming down the line that would need data from your CRM and your ERP, it would make a lot of sense to ensure that the first project you deliver includes specific APIs that you know you'll get reuse from in your second, third, and fourth projects with data from those two systems, your CRM and your ERP. And I guess this comes back to my earlier point, and just to sort of, I guess, wrap things up, it comes back to building out this composable enterprise. So creating those building blocks that allows your organization to be more agile, to move faster than your competition, and ultimately deliver more revenue generating projects faster than ever previously possible. And as I said again earlier, that's what the other departments, that's what the executive team and the board will really care about when you're talking around the value of integration.
Sure. And it seems like increased engineering reuse will be the way forward. It was great having this conversation with you, Nick. But before we go, here are key takeaways from this discussion. There has always been a difference between what we are capable of measuring in integration and how in business it measures its objectives. It is necessary to close this gap to demonstrate this alignment in language that is shared and understood by the business. If you can meet the needs of the business while maintaining the level of service in less time, you will have the business on your side. I would like to thank everyone for watching and listening to our discussion. You can reach out to me or anyone from our team if you need help with your digital strategy and integration. You can also join our newsletter to get first-hand updates on our next talk and other relevant news. Also follow us on our YouTube channel, on LinkedIn, and on Facebook, as we will be doing more live stream sessions in the coming weeks. Thank you very much and have a good day. Cheers.